Anthony walked along the cemetery paths, leisurely examining the inscriptions on the headstones. He noticed a couple who had died one after the other, much like his own parents. It seemed fitting to live a life so intertwined with another that you couldn't bear to stay behind after they were gone. The cemetery was quiet and deserted, as usual. Ahead, he saw the familiar graves where 3 years ago he had buried his parents. They had been inseparable in life and remained so in death. "Hello, my dear ones," Anthony greeted his parents. "I brought you some flowers to plant. By next spring, your plots will be beautiful. Mum, I brought your favourite tulips and daffodils. And for you, Dad, I have this stern bush with lovely leaves but no flowers. I remember, Dad, you never liked all those girly frills. So here's a purely masculine bush for you. No excesses." Anthony weeded the plots, dusted the headstones, planted the flowers and added some sand. He sat down to talk to his parents, a tradition he had kept over the years. He told them about his life, his health and his work, and shared news about mutual acquaintances. Finally, he came to the main point. "So, what's been happening to me? I've decided to get married. Remember, Mum, I told you about Sloane last time. She's from a simple family, a good girl who needs support. Her father is an invalid and her mother has worked at a factory all her life. I think my help would be valuable to them. They haven't done repairs in a long time. Her father can't, and her mother is always working. I could help with that. Thanks, Dad, for teaching me so much. You know, I've already proposed to Sloane, but not very seriously, more like a joke. She said she'd think about it. Today I want to make it official, so I came to ask for your blessing." Anthony sat a little longer, said his goodbyes, and slowly made his way toward the exit. He wasn't rushing because he was deep in thought about what he was about to do. He and Sloane had been together for 6 months, and from the moment he met her, he knew she was the one he wanted to marry. Furthermore, he noticed that Sloane took his talk of marriage lightly and understood that she was still very young. But he wanted a family, tired of casual dating, and wanted everyone to know that Sloane was his woman, his wife, with whom he would raise children and live until death, just like his parents. Lost in thought, Anthony nearly collided with a young boy standing by a fresh grave. "Sorry, kid, I was lost in thought and didn't see you. What are you doing here? A cemetery is no place for children to play." "I came to visit my mum. Today is her birthday," the boy replied. He looked no older than 6, thin and frail. Anthony glanced at the headstone and was shocked to see the photo and name of a girl he knew well. Juliana, his classmate and first love from his youth. So young and already gone. "And where's your dad?" Anthony asked, looking around. "I only have a stepfather, and he didn't want to come with me. He has guests over. I ran away by myself." Anthony understood that any decent adult would be worried, but looking into the boy's eyes, he saw that his family relationship was far from good. "He won't worry," the boy said quietly. "He's with Zara. They're always hanging together, and he doesn't care about me. He said Zara is my new mum, but I don't want her. Zara is mean and doesn't love me at all." Anthony understood that he couldn't help the boy. It wasn't his place to interfere in someone else's family. The boy wasn't being mistreated, but the orphaned child felt like an outsider, unwanted by his stepfather and new wife. "What's your name?" Anthony asked. "Mama called me Sammy, but Zara doesn't call me that name," the boy replied, his eyes filling with tears. Anthony felt deeply sorry for the child. Though he was an adult, he also felt the acute loneliness of being alone in the world, understanding the boy's pain all too well. "I'm Anthony," he said gently. "I understand you, kid, even though I'm all grown up. I miss my parents too. I've lost everyone. I came here to visit them. It's easier for me, I'm my own master, but you should know your mum would be very upset if she knew you were wandering the cemetery alone. Come on, I'll walk you home. It's getting dark." Anthony escorted the boy safely and then headed straight to Sloane's place. After his conversation with the orphan, he yearned even more to create his own family and never be alone again, like Sam. On the way, he bought a beautiful bouquet of Sloane's favourite flowers. He imagined her usual excitement, asking him to take photos of her with the enormous bouquet and the ring on her finger. He knew he'd have to try hard to capture a photo she liked enough to post on social media, with the caption, "My love proposed to me. Guess what I said? Yes!" These thoughts warmed his heart, and a dreamy smile spread across his face. Arriving at Sloane's door, Anthony rang the bell. She opened it, but instead of her usual joyful squeals and kisses, she stepped out into the hallway, closing the door behind her. Her face was stern, making her look years older. "Anthony, this is not a good time," she said quietly, a hint of fear in her voice. "What do you mean?" "Look at these flowers. They're all for you, my love," Anthony replied, bewildered. Sloane's expression hardened. "I'm telling you, it's not a good time. We have a guest." "Who is it?" "I'm sure I won't bother them. I look decent enough. Maybe they'll even like me," Anthony insisted, growing more anxious. "Anthony, please listen to me. I can't let you in today, and probably never again," Sloane said firmly. "What happened?" Anthony asked, his heart racing with worry. "I see you came with a purpose. Such gifts aren't without a reason, but I can't accept them. I don't want to lie to you any more. I've met someone else," Sloane confessed. Anthony's heart seemed to stop. He felt as if the ground had been pulled out from under him, and he was falling into an endless abyss. "I wanted to propose to you," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Anthony, we've talked about this before. I told you I wasn't ready. You know our situation. I'm tired of living impoverished. Dad's health is declining and Mum is always stressed and working. Craig can offer me so much more than you can. He's a businessman with a big company and a nice car. I told my parents about him and they wanted to meet him. He's here now," Sloane explained. "Let me meet him," Anthony demanded, trying to push his way into the apartment, but Sloane blocked the door with her back. "Don't do it, Anthony." "And what about your parents?" Anthony tried to object. "Anthony, we have no future together, and my parents understand that. You live in a rented apartment and earn little. Or did you think we would move to your parents' house in the village? Craig is independent and wealthy. He will help my parents and me pay for my education. I will transfer to a more prestigious university and study the speciality I've always dreamed of. You can't help me with that, Anthony. Let me go. Let me be happy." "Sloane, what happiness are you talking about? How can you say this? We love each other. We were going to get married." "That's what you wanted, Anthony, not me. Goodbye, Anthony. Don't call me, please. Don't bother me any more." She left, gently closing the door behind her. Anthony stared in bewilderment at the roses he still held. A wave of anger washed over him. He punched the wall with his other fist so hard that his knuckles bled. He threw the bouquet to the floor, turned around and left, leaving a bloody imprint of his fist on the wall near his now ex-girlfriend's apartment. She traded me for money. Fell for it. Of course, I'm just a worker. I can't afford trips abroad, fancy cars, or luxurious restaurants. But Sloane, how could you sell yourself like that? Like some cheap trinket? His phone beeped with an SMS from his best friend. He knew he was planning to propose to his girlfriend and sent a message, hoping to find out how it ended. "Let's meet at the bar near your place," he texted him. They talked almost until dawn. Anthony drowned his sorrow and anger in alcohol, while his loyal friend tried to comfort him and made sure nothing happened to him. "I'll go to her now, beat up that rich kid and wreck everything there." "Calm down, buddy. There's no rich kid there now. Everyone's asleep. You'll go to bed now and sleep. Tomorrow you can decide whom to hit and if it's even worth it." The next day, Anthony woke up and realized he didn't want to see Sloane, her parents, or their new son-in-law. He decided to leave them alone and let Sloane burn herself on the promising but false flame of feelings fueled by the thirst for money. Anthony simply lived and worked. Over time, he felt a strong desire to visit his parents' grave, talk to the silent listeners, pour out all his accumulated pain, and perhaps find solace. The cemetery was outside the city, not far from the village where Anthony grew up, where his parents' house still stood. He also took a couple of days off work, deciding to spend some time in the house where he spent his childhood, fix the roof, mend the fence, clean up the old garden, talk to friends and neighbours, breathe the clean air by the river, and perhaps find the desire to live and love again. At the cemetery, Anthony saw Sam again. The boy was clearly frightened and couldn't move from fear. "Hey, you're here again. Why do you look so scared? Did you see a ghost or something?" "Uncle Anthony, I saw my mum. She was like alive, walking past the cemetery. I came to visit her again. I picked some flowers for her by the house. She planted them last year when she was still alive. I turned my head and she was walking past me in a white dress. I wanted to call out to her, but I was too scared. She had a dog with her, just like our old dog, who disappeared when Mum died. I thought she was dead, but now they're walking together here." The poor kid's gone crazy from grief, Anthony thought. He's not thinking straight, seeing his mother? Or maybe he really saw her ghost. What kind of nonsense is this? "Come with me, Sam. My house is nearby, and I've brought some food. Let's sit, eat, talk, and then we'll figure out what to do," Anthony suggested. The boy agreed, trustingly taking his hand as they walked. The house was dusty, but not dirty. Anthony wiped the table and seated Sam on a tall stool, reminiscent of his own childhood. The boy eagerly devoured the simple meal Anthony prepared, as if it were the most delicious thing he had ever tasted. "Eat up, and I'll go ask the neighbours some questions," Anthony said, patting the boy's head before stepping out. He decided to visit Mrs. Johnson, the village gossip. If anyone knew anything unusual happening in the village, it would be her. "Mrs. Johnson?" Anthony called, tapping on her window. "It's been so long since I saw you," the elderly woman exclaimed, delighted to see him, and eager for city news and a chance to share her own. "Do you know a boy named Sam? His mother, Juliana, passed away almost a year ago. He lives with his stepfather," Anthony inquired. "I know Sam and his mother, Juliana. Rumour has it she was adopted, and her parents moved here to keep the adoption a secret," Mrs. Johnson revealed, her words pouring out like a machine gun. "Wait, Aunt Mrs. Johnson, I need to know something. Have you seen Juliana since her death, or heard any rumours?" Anthony asked. Mrs. Johnson paused, recalling a recent conversation. "Old John said he saw her ghost near the old abandoned house by the cemetery. He sobered up instantly, but I thought he was just seeing things. That house has been empty for years." Anthony thanked Mrs. Johnson and decided to investigate the house where John claimed to have seen Juliana's ghost. Approaching the isolated house, he saw a tall, slender woman who resembled the late Juliana. A shaggy dog barked at him from the yard. The scene was far from ghostly. "Hello, I was just passing," "Have you lived here long?" Anthony asked, approaching the gate. "Hello," the woman replied, walking towards him. "No, I was given this house just last week. An elderly woman used to live there, and it had been vacant. I'm a teacher, and this fall I'll be teaching at the local school. The chairman assigned me this empty house." "And what is your name? Not Juliana by any chance?" Anthony asked. The young woman laughed. "Why does everyone think I'm Juliana? Yesterday some drunk man was calling me Juliana from over the fence, and now you're asking. I'm Ada, not Juliana." "It's good that you're not Juliana. There's a story here. You see, Ada, there was a girl in this village who looked just like you. People got scared because they think you're her, Juliana. She died last year." "Oh my goodness. I've been wondering why people have been avoiding me. Even the chairman insisted he'd seen me somewhere before." "You know, Ada, Juliana and I were in the same class. I haven't seen Juliana in over 10 years, not since I moved to the city for school. But you really do look like her. It's uncanny. But tell me, please, where are you from?" "I came from far away. I have no family. I'm an orphan from a children's home. After finishing college, I worked in a kindergarten, and then I found a place here. They even promised me a housing. That's how I ended up here. I've never been here before." "You know what I'll tell you?" the young woman said, pausing for a moment before an idea struck her. "I had a sister. When we were very young, we grew up together in an orphanage. I remember almost nothing about my father or mother, but I remember my twin sister. The caregivers often pitied me and said it was wrong to separate us. I was sick a lot as a child, so nobody wanted to adopt me, but a family took her. My nanny told me they took her to some city." Anthony looked at Ada, astonished by her resemblance to the deceased sister. There was no doubt. She was indeed not a stranger to Sam. "Come with me," Anthony asked Ada. "We need to calm down a very frightened boy." Anthony led Ada to his house and along the way told her about Juliana's son, the orphaned boy, and how he had mistaken her for his dead mother. "Mum!" Sam's face showed both joy and fear. He ran to Ada and looked into her face. "She's not your mum, Sam. This is Ada, your mother's supposed twin sister, probably your aunt. She came to the village and will teach children at school." Tears streamed down Sam's cheeks, and Ada couldn't hold back. She hugged the boy tightly and cried from the unbearable grief. All her life she had been alone and dreamed of finding her sister. But when she did, she found a little orphan, as sick and unhappy as she once was. The three lonely people sat embracing for a long time, understanding each other without words. "I'll be here for you. If I can, I'll adopt you, my dear." Soon, a DNA test was conducted, which confirmed the kinship of Sam and Ada. With Anthony's support, the woman was able to get custody of the little boy, finally taking him away from his negligent stepfather. A year later, Anthony and Ada got married. Now they were a family and no longer felt so alone in this vast world.